Hello! Today we're going to review the fundamental rules to obtain your commercial driver's license in California. This state has some of the strictest CMV regulations in the country, including unique emissions and idling rules, so let's get prepared for you to pass that exam on the first try. Here are the key questions for the California CDL exam. What agency issues CDL licenses in California? The California Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV. The California DMV is your point of contact for all CDL testing, licensing, and renewals in the state. Let's continue. What is the minimum age for interstate CDL driving in California? 21 years old. Crossing state lines with a commercial vehicle requires full CDL eligibility. No exceptions under federal law. Next question. What is the minimum age for intrastate CDL driving in California? 18 years old. At 18 you can drive commercially within California, but you must wait until 21 to cross state lines. Let's move on. What combination weight requires a Class A CDL in California? Combination vehicles over 26,000 pounds where the towed unit exceeds 10,000 pounds. Class A covers the biggest combinations on the road: tractor-trailers, doubles, and similar rigs. Continuing. What vehicles require a Class B CDL in California? Single vehicles over 26,000 pounds, or towing a unit not exceeding 10,000 pounds. Straight trucks, large buses, and heavy dump trucks typically fall into Class B territory. Next point. What vehicles require a Class C CDL in California? Vehicles under 26,001 pounds carrying hazmat, or designed for 16 or more passengers including the driver. Don't let the smaller size fool you. Class C vehicles carry dangerous materials or large groups of passengers and demand full professional standards. Let's keep going. How long is a California Commercial Learner's Permit, CLP, valid? 180 days, renewable once for another 180 days. Use that time to build real skill and confidence behind the wheel of a CMV before your skills test. Next question. What supervision is required when driving with a California CLP? A CDL holder with the proper class and endorsements must sit in the front passenger seat. Your supervisor must be qualified for the exact vehicle you're operating, not just any CDL holder will do. Let's continue. What vision standard is required for a California CDL? 20/40ths in each eye with or without correction, and at least 70 degrees of peripheral vision. Peripheral vision is just as critical as forward vision when operating a large vehicle. Both are tested. Next point. How often must a California CDL holder renew their medical certificate? Every 2 years, unless a condition requires more frequent review. Set a reminder well before your expiration date. An expired medical card means you cannot legally operate a CMV. Let's move on. What blood pressure level qualifies for a full 2-year medical certificate? 140/90 or below. Monitor your health proactively. Elevated blood pressure can shorten your certification period significantly. Continuing. What happens to a California CDL if the medical certificate expires? The CDL is downgraded until a valid certificate is on file. Your medical card and your CDL are directly linked. Let one lapse and the other immediately loses its full value. Next question. What condition disqualifies a driver from a medical certificate in California? Epilepsy not controlled by medication, and insulin-dependent diabetes in most cases. These standards exist to protect you and everyone sharing the road with you. They apply uniformly across all states. Let's keep going. What is the minimum tread depth on front steering axle tires for a CMV in California? 4/32 of an inch. Steering axle tires control the direction of the entire vehicle. They get the strictest standard for good reason. Next point. What is the minimum tread depth on all other CMV tires in California? 2/32 of an inch. Worn tires on any axle increase stopping distance and reduce stability. Check them at every pre-trip, no exceptions. Let's continue. What is the maximum single axle weight on California highways? 20,000 pounds. Overloading a single axle damages infrastructure and dramatically increases the risk of tire failure. Next question. What is the maximum tandem axle weight on California highways? 34,000 pounds. Know your axle weights independently, not just your gross weight. Both are regulated and both are checked at weigh stations. Let's move on. What is the maximum gross vehicle weight on California interstates without a permit? 80,000 pounds. Anything above that limit requires a special overweight permit. Plan ahead. Permits aren't always available on short notice. Continuing. What California-specific rule applies to CMV drivers regarding idling? California restricts diesel engine idling to 5 minutes when the vehicle is stopped, except in specific exempted circumstances. This is a California-specific rule you will not find in most other states. Know it, follow it, and check for local exemptions before your route. Next point, what is the California Air Resources Board, CARB, rule for CMV engines? CMVs operating in California must meet CARB emission standards, and certain older engines require retrofit or replacement. CARB regulations are among the strictest in the nation. If you're bringing a CMV into California from another state, verify your engine compliance before you cross the border. Let's keep going. What are the 3 parts of total stopping distance? Perception distance, reaction distance, and braking distance. Understanding each component helps you anticipate stops proactively, not just react to them at the last second. Next question. At 55 miles per hour, how far does a loaded truck travel before stopping? About 390 feet under ideal conditions. That's longer than a football field, on flat, dry pavement. On California's mountain grades or wet freeways, add significantly more. Let's continue. What is the reaction distance at 55 miles per hour? About 60 feet in the 1 second it takes to react. Your truck travels 60 feet before your foot even touches the brake pedal. That's why following distance and anticipation are everything. Next point, what following distance applies under normal conditions? 1 second per 10 feet of vehicle length, plus 1 second for speeds over 40 miles per hour. A 60-foot combination at highway speed needs at least 7 seconds of following distance. Build that gap and protect it. Let's move on. What following distance adjustment is needed in bad weather? Double the normal following distance. Rain, fog, and coastal conditions in California can change visibility and traction instantly. Double your gap before conditions force a reaction. Continuing. What speed reduction is recommended on wet roads? Reduce by 1/3. Wet pavement is not dry pavement. Cut your speed before the conditions make the decision for you. Next question. What speed reduction applies on packed snow? Reduce by 1/2. California's mountain passes, including the Grapevine, Donner Pass, and Cajon Pass, can accumulate packed snow rapidly. Half speed is not overcautious, it's the math that keeps you in your lane. Let's keep going. What speed reduction is needed on ice? Reduce by 2/3 or more. Ice is the most dangerous surface a truck driver encounters. 2/3 reduction is the minimum, and even then, every input requires extreme caution. Next point, what is the maximum speed for a CMV on a California interstate highway? 55 miles per hour for trucks and vehicles towing trailers. This is a California-specific rule that catches many out-of-state drivers off guard. The passenger car limit may be 70 miles per hour, yours is 55. Know the difference. Let's continue. What is the California minimum speed rule on freeways? Drivers must not impede traffic flow by driving unreasonably slowly, and may not drive below 45 miles per hour on a freeway unless conditions require it. You have both a maximum and a minimum. Driving too slowly in a lane of fast-moving traffic creates its own category of danger. Next question. What is hydroplaning and how should a driver respond? Loss of tire contact with the road due to water. Ease off the accelerator without hard braking. Hard braking during hydroplaning locks the wheels and eliminates any remaining steering. Ease off smoothly and let the tires gradually regain contact. Let's move on. What causes brake fade and how is it prevented? Overheated brakes from continuous downgrade use, prevented by using a low gear and controlled braking. Once brakes fade, you have very little stopping power left. Prevention through proper gear selection is the only reliable answer. Continuing. What technique prevents brake fade on California mountain downgrades? Select a low gear before the descent and apply brakes in firm, controlled intervals. California's mountain grades are severe and long. Commit to your gear at the top, never halfway down when you're already moving fast. Next point. What gear should be selected before a steep downgrade? The same gear needed to climb the same grade. Simple rule. Critical to remember. What takes you up safely is the gear that keeps you in control on the way down. Let's keep going. What is an escape ramp and when should it be used? A specially built ramp to stop runaway vehicles, used without hesitation if speed cannot be controlled. California's mountain highways have escape ramps precisely because the grades are severe enough to overcome brakes. Use one without hesitation. It is there to save your life. Next question. What is off-tracking in large vehicles? When rear wheels follow a shorter arc than front wheels in a turn. Always account for off-tracking on California's tight urban intersections and mountain switchbacks. Your rear tandems will cut the corner. Compensate deliberately. Let's continue. What is jackknifing and what causes it? The trailer folding against the tractor from locked trailer wheels during hard braking. A jackknifed combination occupies every lane instantly. Once it starts, there is almost nothing the driver can do. Prevention through smooth braking is everything. Next point, how is jackknifing prevented? Avoid sudden hard braking on slippery surfaces and brake smoothly. Smooth is fast and smooth is safe. Abrupt brake inputs on low traction surfaces are the most direct path to a jackknife. Let's move on. What is trailer sway and how is it corrected? Side-to-side movement from speed, wind, or uneven loading, corrected by easing off the accelerator. California's coastal and desert highways are notorious for crosswinds. Anticipate sway conditions and ease off before it escalates. Continuing, what is the tug test when coupling a tractor-trailer? Engaging low gear and gently pulling against the locked kingpin to confirm fifth wheel engagement. If the trailer moves with you, you're coupled. If it separates, you have a serious problem before you ever leave the yard. Always test it. Next question, what is the correct coupling sequence? Position the tractor, align the kingpin, connect airlines, raise the landing gear, perform the tug test, and inspect the connection. Every step exists for a reason. Skipping any one of them is how trailers separate from tractors at highway speed. Let's keep going. What is the correct uncoupling order? Lower the landing gear, apply trailer brakes, disconnect airlines and electrical, chock the wheels, then extract the tractor. Follow every step in order. Skipping the landing gear or wheel chocks on uneven ground can result in a trailer collapse or runaway. Next point, what are the glad hands on a combination vehicle? Connectors joining the service and emergency air lines between the tractor and trailer. 2 lines, 2 functions. The service line controls the brakes in motion. The emergency line maintains pressure to prevent automatic brake application while driving. Let's continue. What happens if the emergency air line disconnects while moving? The trailer brakes apply automatically. This is a built-in failsafe. A separated trailer without brakes is catastrophic. The system is designed so that separation triggers an immediate stop. Next question, what is the trailer hand valve used for? Testing trailer brakes only, never while driving, as it causes jackknifing. The trailer hand valve is a test tool, not a driving tool. Using it in motion applies only the trailer brakes, a direct path to a jackknife on any surface. Let's move on. What is the normal air pressure range in a CMV brake system? 100 to 125 psi. Know your gauges and know your normal range. Any reading outside that window demands your immediate attention before you move. Continuing, at what pressure does the low air warning activate? 60 psi. When that warning light and buzzer activate, you stop, safely, immediately, and without delay. This is a stop now warning, not a find a good spot suggestion. Next point, what is the air loss rate limit with brakes released? No more than 3 psi per minute. Faster than 3 psi per minute means you have a leak. Find it and fix it before the vehicle moves, not at the next stop. Let's keep going. What is the air loss rate with brakes applied for a combination vehicle? No more than 6 psi per minute. Combination vehicles have more connections and more potential leak points. Know the correct limit for your vehicle type and test it every pre-trip. Next question. What are spring brakes in a CMV? Emergency and parking brakes held back by air pressure, that apply automatically when pressure drops below roughly 20 to 45 psi. Spring brakes are your last